The opinions, views, and conclusions expressed in this show are those of the show host and co-host and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of KPFV FM or its affiliates.
The Watchers with your host, Ed Ledesma, and co-host, Mitch Lingon.
Thank you for joining us here, with the Watchers. I'm Ed Ledesma, your host for this evening, and I just want to let you guys know that things are they going to be good for the rest of the time that this administration is going to be there. I don't know. To be honest with you, things look bad. As a watcher, understanding what's going on, seeing things happen, what they say, what is the consequences, the cause and effect of it. They start something and there's an effect during it. Um, I I'm glad that I went and spent some time with some good friends on the fourth. I had invited. I was invited for a barbecue. I'm assuming that you guys all had a wonderful time, which it is. You know, here, in Southern Nevada. Deep in the armpit, and there was some issues. In most major metropolis cities. But you know we enjoyed the weekend. We enjoyed having some folks around, invited folks, or you're invited for something like that, a gathering to, for the Independence Day of this nation. July 4th means a lot for us Americans. To those who don't like, this country, which is, you go to D.C. and talk to those who are destroying this country. They don't want us to have the 4th of July because it reminds them that we, the people, we don't take crap from anybody. So once again, we're at that point. Totalitarian government is pushing the issue, and so when they're pushing the issue, there's things they don't go right for everybody. So over the weekend, on the fourth, and Chicago had a major day. They had all kinds of shootings, a lot of deaths. So Chicago, I guess the city councilman or alderman, wants the National Guard to patrol the city amid the violence. But Mayor Beetlejuice is against it because she doesn't have control of that. But when you start seeing, more and more people are being killed because of violence, because they guess what, defund the police. These are the decisions that people make that are in office, and Mayor Beetlejuice is doing an excellent job, against his people. They're now crying for peace, safety, stop the violence. And so you have somebody like Alderman is requesting the National Guard to patrol the city streets. Enough is enough. But Mayor Beetlejuice is against it. So it's not only Chicago, but it shows when you have a liberal run city, a metropolis city, and then when you remove the police force, the LE, law enforcement section for enforcing the laws of the city and the state, and you have this vacuum of volume of violence. So it's just happening more and more, folks. And when you take away a portion of a police department or a sheriff's department, guess what? You're going to have this vacuum of crime. So if you lose that, that portion of it, what's going to happen? People are left on their own. How is people going to respond to it when you have leadership that is against your safety? We as Americans, we the people, we love our safety. We love being at peace, having fun, enjoying the time. But when you run the city down to the ground and not giving them the safe feeling of being protected, well, guess what? You're going to have you're going to have people going just rabid, which means, going crazy, going out there, doing things on their own, start shooting others, killing others. So there's a battle right now between those who had enough and those who don't care about their city or their states. So they're letting things run, to the ground. So the battle has started, folks, when it comes to protecting its people throughout the nation. But we have clowns in office that don't care. What is the question of that when they don't care? Why are they pushing the issue that they're not going to support the city, the state, and its people? What is their main goal out of this? What do they get out of it? At some given point, you're going to wake up the sleeping giant, just like what Japan did to us in 1941, December 7th. You wake up the sleeping giant, and it's going to smack you right back. And I watched documentaries about what happened during that time period. December 7th, 1941. People got together, volunteered to protect its nation from outsource, possible invasion, and it was coming to that point. But how did we get to that point where war was declared on us? That's a different story. But look at where we're at right now as a nation. We're not being helped at all. We're not feeling safe anymore. And they get upset when we take matters into our own hands and make we, the people, the bad guys. The bad guys are them. They violated their oath of office. When you go in, I don't know if they do it anymore. You swear an oath to protect its people, enforce the laws. You're looking after those who voted you in. For some reason, they voted you in. But when you give an implication that, vote for me and I'll do this for you, and they do the opposite, we, the people, should just say, you know what? We don't want you anymore. Vote you out. Recall. Get somebody in that's going to do something for its constituents, its people. So Chicago, the mayor of that city, Mayor Beetlejuice, and you know who I'm talking about. She's against it. Why? Who knows? Here's another thing. Pentagon holds a briefing after the U.S. withdrawals from, Bagram, and there's an offensive by the Taliban. There's another vacuum. We're withdrawing, and those poor people that for 20 years, that we gave them a sense of security, and those troops from Afghanistan that we recruited so they can be trained to fight against the Taliban, protects its people, its villages, its country. Well, they're running away, because the Taliban has got a huge offensive, just like other wars in the past. So those poor people that we hired to be interpreters, that we bought local goods, we protected their villages and stuff like that, are going to feel the pain again by the Taliban. And you know how the Taliban are. They don't care. If you don't follow their ways, you're going to be massacred. Thousands of people are going to be massacred. And they don't forget when you supported the United States. So it's going to be worse than Chairman Mao. So Afghan troops are fleeing. So after we're withdrawing, so there's no backbone. These poor people are going to suffer again. So it's not only happening in our country, but it's also happening around the world, where we go out and help them, and then we withdraw and leave them alone to their deaths. But that's not the end of it. All that equipment, billions, trillions of dollars of equipment, ammunition, whatever, vehicles and stuff, is being left behind. All that money that the American taxpayer has done, so has given up, let's just say that, for supporting the war. Actually, not the war, but the men and women that fought those wars. I'm one of them. So You know, all this trillions of dollars just being wasted. So once again, Afghanistan is going to go back to its original self, and there's nothing we can do about it anymore. 20 years over there, and now it's done. So all those people that work for the United States for whatever reason, doesn't matter. You can be a cook, you can be washing their uniforms and stuff. They're gonna go after these people and kill them. Taliban is. And those who are around those bases and stuff, they have these small little villages that were prospering. They're going to start pointing fingers to those who collaborated with the United States just to save their own ass. I didn't do it. I didn't support it. They were doing it. He was doing all kinds of stuff. That family was doing that. So guess what? It's not a good thing. So Biden is seeking counsel on the ransomware attacks. If you have any question, folks, you can reach us here at the studio at KPFB 98.1 775-990-4900. Mr. Producer will answer your calls and direct you to me. So Biden seeks counsel on ransomware attacks. They're making statements that Russia is doing this. Who knows who's doing it? It might be themselves that are doing it and blaming Russia. Who knows? That's how these people are in D.C. And so we're giving up trillions of dollars to these people that are doing these cyber attacks, and then they're asking for ransom for our systems, And how are we gonna continue with this ransomware attack? Giving up money, your money, not their money. They don't care about us. You have to pay the taxes so that we can pay the ransom. So all this is happening, folks. This is the downfall of a beautiful nation. We're piss poor leadership. Just like the Roman Empire, greed got into it in the Senate and in the system of government there. And greed. They kill each other off and they want more, they got to get more from the people. And they expanded so far from Egypt to other places to, Ireland, Scotland, all them. And the logistic portion of it was so demanding because they had front lines in all over the known world at that moment. Then they split the empire, west and east. So the capital was no longer Rome, it became Constantinople. And so, which is modern day Turkey, around there. All this is happening, folks, and we're seeing this breakdown throughout the world, in our own country. And here locally, what did I see? What did you guys see? You saw people excited about, celebrating the 4th of July. At the same time, we have ordinances, an ordinance not to discharge your fireworks. We have designated areas. But then you still have clowns, in your neighborhoods launching these things, these devices, explosive devices, going up into the air, maybe 200 feet, and then all of a sudden you get this southerly wind blowing, and the fallout, which means the embers and stuff from the explosion, are drifting either to your property or your neighbors. Have you noticed the fire department was working really hard that day? I did. So I stood on guard, on our property. I didn't call in because, the fire department is all over the place. If I have the means to, turn down the fire, then I'll do it myself. And if it gets out of control, 911. But you have people, ignorant people out there. And you're asking yourself, where are you going with this, Ed? It's throughout the world, the country, the state. the county, your township. You got people that don't care anymore. And so here's another thing. 4th of July was great. You know, we all got fat. We shoved food down our throats and stuff, celebrated, have a few brewskis and so on, or those who don't like to drink, you know, iced tea, sodas, and water. Oh, yeah. Barbecues everywhere, smelling food everywhere. So celebration is good, but there's also a bad side to it. You know, fires, injuries. You got people that are so dumb launching devices and it explodes right there in their faces. So what do you say about that? It's a bunch of idiots out there. And have you noticed so much was going into the air? So for us that live here, you know, 10, 15, 20 years or more, you don't see that a lot. We go to the designated areas and launch our devices. But those who don't know are the ones that come from other states and detonate these devices and not knowing that there's going to be injuries and fires. You see where I'm coming from, folks? You get these morons, idiots, and so on. They're coming from other states, getting into your towns and just wreaking havoc. They don't care. They don't understand how it is in your own town. It can be, you know, in anywhere in the north, the south, the east, and west. But you get these clowns that come from cities. And once they got a little taste of freedom, they go butt wild, like a horse's ass. So here's another thing. I used to be in the Army. The Army Times put out an article forcing inoculations. Military members are saying, you know what? You know, if you do this, we're all going to quit. We're going to go home. So the Army is going to mandate the COVID-19 vaccines. So the members of the military in the Army are requesting congressional help. You're forcing something upon us that you have no idea what's going to happen within days, weeks, months, or a year. Why would you want to do this to your military and bring it down to a level where there's no security throughout the nation and in our outposts? And I'm talking about military bases throughout the world. You're bringing down our security, Mr. Biden and its administration. So they already destroyed the Marine Corps of its historical self. They're doing the same thing, you know, with the Navy, Air Force, and the Army, Coast Guard. You know, we don't know what's going on. So all these changes to satisfy those freaks of natures that are in the military. I need a safe space. I need to be part of something. Well, anyways, so they're forcing these inoculations now. The mandate's going to come up pretty soon. So members of the service, you know, armed services are going to say, you know what? You do this, we quit. The world is watching us, folks. And when they see that the military, members of the military are just walking out in droves, just like in Afghanistan, when you withdraw, you think those Afghan troops are going to stay and fight? No, they're going to drop their weapons, burn their uniforms, and blend in with the crowd and hope that Allah would not, you know, show them that they were part of, you know, they supported, collaborated with the United States, or somebody pointing a finger. They're leaving because we withdraw. Now, you know, in the Army Times, you got those selected generals that are following this clown in D.C., and this is going to bring our military down. Men and women, the young men and women are going to fall to the ground with whatever issues they get from this vaccine, this inoculation. We have in the commercial industry, the airline industry, we had pilots that took phase 1, phase 2, or the two system, shots of vaccine, and they're dying up in the sky. Can you imagine our fighter pilots, our cargo pilots take this shot, the vaccine, and then they're flying, and all of a sudden it goes straight down to the earth? And those, paratroopers jumping out of aircraft, all of a sudden they're not feeling good. They walk out of the aircraft and forget the sequence of, exiting out of the aircraft and not preparing to land because something happens. These clowns in DC and the Pentagon and the Joint Chiefs are screwing up our military, our security force. So all this is happening, folks. That's why, as watchers, we're looking out for what they're doing and saying and the effects of things. Defund the police. Guess what? You have violence everywhere. This is the first time in history where 4th of July you have a lot of shootings, a lot of violence, because you defunded the police. Wake up, people. Protect yourself now. And now they want to force inoculation for the rest of the nation. They're going to do a knock on your door and they say, we're here to give you shots. And people are dying from this, getting sick from it, and they don't care. We're at that point now. Enough is enough. They have violated the Constitution and your Bill of Rights, folks. Daily. Every minute they're doing this. So, the Army, the military, those men and women in the Army are requesting congressional help. Hey, stop this. This is madness. You see where it's going? Destruction of this nation. We are losing. We don't have the balls yet to get up and say enough is enough. For those who have balls, squeeze them tighter and stop this. Go to your local representatives and just bombard them with, letter after letter, emails and phone calls, everything. Do something, please. Because how far can we go with this madness? And there's more to come. There is. Wait and see. Pay attention to what's going on. They don't care. They're toying with Russia. Pushing Russia again. And China. You see how the wars begin when you got politicians in D.C. that are pushing so-called our enemies to go to war. For what reason? Who profits in war? That's a question to ask. Who profits? We're withdrawing from Afghanistan, so all these companies that are part of the war effort, the industrial military complex, are saying we gotta start doing some lobbying. Bankers are doing the same thing. They're going to start lobbying for a war. And lobbyists, all these, these corporations that have something with government contracts. Oh, yeah. Dominoes are falling. Everything is falling, folks. How far can we go with this madness? Poop rolls downhill. And it's coming fast. It's going to hit the wall and splatter somewhere. Well, let's talk about something else. The Olympic tryouts. It's a mockery, folks. It's a mockery. And these tryouts is telling the world that they're selfish, me, all this. I'm not going to stand for the flag. Any other nation when you disrespect its country's flag or its, of its culture, you're not going to find them again. We're the only nation right now that's protesting of itself. Look at Jesse Owens, what he went through. During a time when Hitler was in power, he stood up for the American flag, and he was a black man. Hitler didn't like it that a black man can kick ass. Those Olympians of that time that were minorities and so on, can you imagine what they're seeing today? So it's a mockery right now. Those who represent us of the past, it's just like, what the heck is going on? And it's not only those disrespecting the flag, and then there you got men that couldn't make it in the tryouts for the men portion of it. They become transgender and try out for the women's portion of it. And then you have, in our state, I mean, Miss Nevada. It's not a Miss Nevada, folks. It's a Nevada it. It's not what it's meant to be. Women fought so hard to have their rights, to be not second class citizens, to be equal to men. Then you have Miss Nevada, a man competing with women. Why don't you have a separate thing, Miss Transgender, and so on? You get into women's thing. I respect women. There's a lot of us here, that I know respect women. Throughout time, women were treated different since day one. I mean, bad. Women were the center of a family during ancient times when there was no society, no nothing, no cities and stuff. They taught, it gave the values of being who they are, men and women. Women, the mothers, were the teachers of the ancient times to teach their children. Men were the hunter-gatherers, the protectors of their village or the protectors of their clanship, and so on. As the boy is growing up and the girl is growing up, the separation of education is there. From being children to those children growing up to be, having the capacity to understand why they're men and women. The Olympic tryouts is a mockery. I'm not going to watch the Olympics because it's a disgrace to the United States. You got people protesting right there and then. You see the collapse of this country? The world is watching us. It's a me world. Look at me. I need me. Come on. Before it was competition. You're the top athlete. You're competing to be number one in the world. And it's not happening in this country anymore. Give it to me. And I'll represent. No, they're not representing the United States. I will go to the Olympics. If you're disrespecting the flag, this country, you have no country to represent. I hate to say this, folks, but we got to protect our culture, our heritage. This country is a melting pot from around the world. And all of a sudden you get these clowns that come in that they're not satisfied. They left a country that put that put them under under the heel of their boot, suppressed them, and they're oppressed. And they come over here, and guess what they're doing? They're losing their freedom, their livelihood. You're given the silver spoon, and then you're just throwing it away. The country, they opened arms for you, and you just threw a left hook at it. We're no longer number one in the world, folks. We're losing ourselves in all branches of the services, the military. We lost ourselves when clowns like like this administration is out there destroying its nation, blaming other nations for their faults. That's why I say the Olympic trial is a mockery. This country is a mockery when you have an administration like that in D.C. We, the people, are at some given point, you're going to say enough is enough. And families are being split apart because we let these clowns educate our kids and give them a new history that doesn't exist. They don't want to give the history of the past so we can learn and make adjustments for the future. We used to go to the stars, and not anymore. We're not going to the moon anymore for whatever reason. We're not moving forward as a nation to succeed. We're moving backwards to the ancient times where anybody can come and take. And the national anthem is the national anthem. There's no two national anthems. How in the heck that happened? Are you an American or not? If you are, you sing the national anthem. But if you're not an American, get the heck out and sing that national anthem in other countries. See what happens. Create your own national anthem in other countries. See what happens, folks. Oh, yeah, you get your ass beaten. Get thrown in prison and more ass beatings because you want to change them. And we're letting these clowns change this nation. So we're at the point again. Rome, Rome, Rome. How it fell. And cities, they cannot control today. Once you give them an inch, they'll take a foot. Imagine. Okay. Here's food for thought, or just have something in your mind. Once the crime element sees that the leadership is against each other, and they're going to see that the leadership is not there to protect its people. And you're going to have chaos. Alderman is asking for help by using the National Guard to stop the spread of madness. But those who are causing the chaos are going to say, this is the time. It's a time of chaos. Purge. It's like a form of purge. Like that movie. You give them a day, they go buck crazy, they start killing people, get it out of their system. But this is not, it's a form of purge that when there's lack of leadership, the wrong leadership in office. So they're going to go wild. They know that the LE, which is the law enforcement, they have their hands tied behind their backs. Someone is pulling the reins, and then they're going to let it happen. You're seeing it in Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington. in California, New York, and it's going to happen. The last line of defense is to support our county sheriffs to protect that madness coming to your town. But it's already here. It's here, folks. In southern Nevada, in our little town of Pahrump, the madness is already here. You could be driving 160, 372. You get these clowns that start tailgating you and then illegally pass you by, not following the laws of the road. I mean, cutting you off to almost hitting your vehicle. Where do they come from? Guess what? From those cities, bringing their bad habits. Because I go by the speed limit, they want to push me to the side. And I don't give up. I'm following the laws. I'm trying to get home safe or to my destination. And they honk, give you the finger. They're not from here. You know where they're from. See, it's already started here. I'm glad that the sheriff created that rapid response, to assist deputies. They're sworn in. They've gone through training and background checks. I'm glad that she done that. Makes a lot of sense. She's trying to protect this county. But there are those who are being paid to, go into office and reverse what she has done. This is what my observation is here locally. Look who's going to be running against her. And you will see that there's not going to be no protection. They're going to go against you. You got to have some form of defense, some line. The last line of defense. County sheriff protects the Constitution and its people, your Bill of Rights. But when you get clowns from other cities like Chicago that are coming here, they want to change that. Oh, it boils your blood. It's called madness, chaos. I mean, they're letting the wolves out. They're rattling the cages where they have these wolves kenneled up. When you cage an animal and you rattle it and they get ferocious. They just want to attack you and chew you up to pieces. And it's happened. Someone with the whip is just taunting these animals and they're going to open the gates of freaking hell. And that's what they're doing in this nation, in your cities, in your township. Look, people, because it's here. Protect your town. It's like you're protecting your home, which is your family resides. It's fortress. And you don't want nobody to enter your property, your fort, illegally. It's an invasive feeling that somebody can walk in the middle of the night and surprise you with a hammer on your forehead. Look what happened in Denny's, folks. By reading the articles, a manager there befriended an elderly man. Then he went missing in February, and then they found him in his own apartment or his home, in his own closet. Look what's coming in. Before, you used to leave your windows open, to get the nice, cool breeze. And now you're afraid to leave them open because some clown will walk in. It doesn't matter. You can post your signs, private property, no trespassing, beware of dog. They're going to still come in. They're going to cause havoc while they wake you up. You ever sit down on your porch and watch who's walking in your streets, your roads, in the middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the morning, wearing all black? If I was going to walk during the night and get some of that fresh, cool air, I'd be wearing some fluorescent clothing so nobody would run me over. I've seen it. and with my own eyes. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Yep, they're out there. This has never happened before in our own town, but it's here. So the nation is that way because the nation made it this way. You know, don't you the abuse of power is on both sides. One that is against its people, the other that doesn't do anything, leaving people to hang. Not talking literally. They're hanging from trees, but leaving people to handle their own affairs. And then when they do handle their own affairs, they're being charged with whatever crimes there is, violation. Hypocrites that they are for protecting their own homes and families. Is this the nation that we made has come to this point? I mean, how dare they make this happen? Like I said before, folks, here as a watcher, 98.1 KPFV FM. All branches of government weaponize. Right? So you have all agencies weaponize against you. The mainstream media weaponize, pushing out fear as a weapon. They've been weaponized. What I mean by weaponized, they're used against you, targeting you, making you feel bad. You are the bad guys, not them. Watch that movie, V for Vendetta. That's what they did in that movie in England. They rattled the cages to get the people to support them. And then when they got in, they turned against on the people. Weaponizing fear. You got millions of people, and this small group is doing that, enforcing it. But you're afraid to do something. But it took one person in that movie, and his name was V. But in the movie, it's number 5. The Roman numeral. He rattled the cages again to get the people to say, hey, look what's happening. Wake up. Do something about it. And he did, and he died for it. For its people. And the lies that this movie portrayed in what the government did for its people. The lockdowns, mass inoculations, not tested, but tested at that moment. And people were dying in the thousands. This is a movie. V for Vendetta. So, and it's happening now in this country. They want to vaccinate the entire nation to see what happens. They know what's going to happen, but they don't want to tell us because they don't want us to revolt. They don't want us to be in defiance. Now they're forcing the military to be inoculated. That's your sons and daughters in the military, folks. They're going to test them. They're the guinea pigs now. They couldn't do it with you, we the people. Only those lemmings and suckers that went for it. Now they're going after the young men and women in our armed forces. Your sons and daughters. How do you like that? As a watcher, you see things and they're doing it. And guess what? You think that the military is not going to go through this, health issue? Which one of the 3 vaccines are they going to give the military? Not everybody is the same. Not everybody. You notice how they're pushing out the new Delta variant? There might be a 3rd shot. You're saying what? There's no way. Oh yeah, it's already out there. Who are they going to test it on? Oh, I just said the military. Why? Because they have to follow orders. When there's an unlawful order in the military, you have a chance to stop it if it's going to endanger you and the rest of that unit. And it's bad. It's bad. You know, these things are happening now. Imagine forced inoculations and then half your force is gone because they're sick. They turn positive on the COVID-19. That means you have to work hard if you're not, if your body is already immune to it. And it takes time to recover from not just a week or 2 weeks, a month plus. They're insane that you'll be better in 2 weeks. Oh, no, it's not going to happen. No. Uh-uh. It's sad. Once again, they're at it with this vaccine, and now they're going to shove it down your throat. What are you going to do, folks? How are you going to fix this? Do you have a solution? There are many solutions out there to stop this madness, but you got to have some form of willpower, balls to stop this. Well, I'm doing my part. I'm doing a lot. I caught H1N1 through my daughter because she got it from school. Remember in 2009, they didn't know what was happening. That was a real pandemic, unless we don't know that someone put it here. But anyways, my daughter got it. I healed her up. Then I got it. And then my wife died from it. And that was during the, the fall of our economy. I call it a depression, but they call it something else. I lost my job, the benefits to make sure that my family are healthy and stuff like that. But my wife died from it. And from the first time, you think you know those who you're working with. Reduction in the workforce, I understand. But it doesn't matter to those on the top. I even requested, just give me a month to find something so my family can have something. They said, no, you're going to have to leave. Within 3 months, my wife was dead. That's how much they care. The elites and stuff like that, those who think they're on top, that's how much they care. So, what goes around comes around. They don't care for us anymore. They don't have no thing, because there's no more we the people. That's what they don't want. They want you to be a serf. Be served to, servitude to them. There's a reason why Robin Hood, the storyline, comes into place. You go, Robin Locksley, goes to a foreign land for a king's ambition of, conquering. In order to, to keep its nation up, you have to conquer. So the king goes out. So Robin, I'm telling you the storyline. Robin goes out there as an archer, as a soldier that time period. Him and his buddies, and then they said, once the king was dead, everyone's for themselves. They have to go back. France is pushing. Their king is pushing. Now they want to invade England because they invaded France. And the storyline for Robin Hood, he saw how people were being oppressed by a new king that's even worse. The son. More taxes. More for the state. more and more and more. So they force you to pay taxes. They take. So Robin Hood and his buddies decided enough is enough. When is that going to happen to this country, the United States? So Robin Hood said enough is enough. It's for the people. We got to feed our people so they won't suffer. So they go into the forest because the king of England, the new king, cannot deal with them in the forest. You know, a deer belongs to the king. Can't hunt a deer anymore. It's part of the monarchy. That storyline, when you watch as a kid, it's all exciting, especially when they do it in cartoon, animated. But as time goes on, you watch every Robin Hood movie, you'll see and learn why he did it that way. Because Robin Hood went to the Crusades, to Jerusalem, and it ended up in France. To go back home, you have to conquer and take to support that army. So the other thing is, we as a people, it wasn't us in today's world that we conquered the people of this land. It was our ancestors. They did it because they heard that there's a new land, discovery, but not knowing that there's people living there already. But you think back, as time goes on, you had tribes, clans in this land, here in this country. Then you have people living in Mexico, Americans. They're called Texans. So when Mexico invited Texans to live there, pay their dues, and then they turn against them for whatever reason. We don't know. History can be written the way it is, and then, rewritten to say something else. So Mexico had all this land going to California, Nevada, Utah and stuff like that. But they conquered that land from the local people that lived there. Tribalism, They conquered every new nation or whatever. They conquer and take and say it's theirs. But before them, the natives conquered this land. Within the different clans, the different tribes, they conquer each other, take slaves. It's a repeating process. Conquering others. It's just they were conquered with a larger force. People from around the world want to come to this new land, prosperity. And they combined a new force. All tribes put together, and you have what? The Battle of Little Bighorn, right? 2,000 Indians against 200 and some 201 cavalry unit, and massacred that unit because someone's pride didn't want to let go and think straight as a leader. Conquering is all over the world, folks. Lines change. Everything changed. It has a cycle of change. It's not climate change. It's not none of that. It's not racism or stuff like that. The only races are the ones that are calling it races. That includes my own family. Things change. Our country's changing. We're not supporting our country, which is we the people. We got to take a stand. Imagine this nation protesting against its government for not doing its job. And now they're pushing fear on top of us. They don't want us to unite because they know they could be overwhelmed, tarred and feathered, or whatever. We're at the boiling point, and this, once that happens, you can't stop it. There's no way you can stop it. Yeah, it's the end. How can you say that it's the end? What, are you giving up? No, I'm not giving up. I'm seeing reality right in front of me. I serve my country. I fought for my country. I fought for the man next to me, right or left. I wasn't going to give up my life for somebody else that's sitting in D.C. saying, they should do this. You can't do that. No, no, no. The person left and right was the ones I fought for. Now, your left and right is whoever it is. Is it your neighborhood you're fighting for? Is it your town, your county, your statehood? Lines are going to change again, folks. Don't you see it? You might see states getting bigger. You might see states breaking up into pieces. You might see states going against its people. You might see states taking other states' territory for resources. Or you have God come down and make things happen. Because we failed. We failed him. And they're taking God away from us. You know that, right? Freedom of religion. How quick they use fear and use a not a disease. It's not a disease. They use something. It's something that we don't understand. And they're giving us vaccines that, it will help you. It will heal you. The only one that can heal us is God himself. We're learning that those who are at the leadership position, they don't care anymore. Right in your face. They're saying it to your face. And you're just standing there. Chicago had the highest deaths on 4th of July in history. In other places throughout the country, there's all kinds of violence, and violence increased, especially here in our own town. Burglaries, vehicle accidents because they're running, crazy out there, driving crazy. I'm glad that the state troopers are stopping these people. At least they're doing something. Even the deputies that are out there watching these people are just violating the highway laws, street laws, They're just violating. You're just going mad crazy. Do you see what is happening, folks? And you see the end result is not looking good. They give you all this BS. You vote for us. We're going to do things. So we're going to give you freebies. And then you're seeing a downhill slope of nothing going straight to the sewer. And the sewer has nothing but filth. That's why they want us to be at servitude to them. And justice means just for them. It's not for us. There's no justice for us anymore. You saw it. The Supreme Court of the land is going upside down. You're seeing police departments defunded for what reason? Political. Shortages. All of a sudden, we got shortages everywhere. Everything. Until then, I'm Ed Ledesma. Thank you for joining us here with the Watchers. Have a good week.